All right. You guys should be able to hear me. And you guys should be able to see me. Yep. There we go. I should have that pretty well set up there. All right. Also, you can kind of see through me because I'm wearing a blue shirt. But what are we working on? Tonight, we're going to do some type of Kubernetes. Some type of security and securing of the old Kubernetes. And what I'm going to advise you do is hang out and follow along with me if you want to. So that's what I'll do. I'll do some Kubernetes security type stuff and give you guys some resources to go play around with this. And then we'll kind of go from there. Get this other stuff out of the way. It's all in the way there. How's it going, Enzo Bear? Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. I did a whole lot of networking today, guys. I had about 14 switches I was working on, and I was switching over some VLANs and connecting to a bunch of different devices and going on with FIPS security. So if you guys have ever set up like the Federal Information Processing security. Oh yeah, the wife cuts my hair, so the wife keeps me nice and cleaned up. She also hit me with the old it was a shave and a haircut, 2 bits, right? Yeah. But just so everybody knows, tonight will be, I mean, it's as basic as everything is, right? Like everything I do is focused on the basics, but this will not be like the beginners. This will not be like the Saturday course where we're doing like Linux systems administration and all that stuff. So, all right. Other things to note. So, speaking of that, we've got a Discord. You guys can hang out there. It's free. You do whatever you want down in there for the most part. You know, try to be respectful of each other. Got 2,600 people plus. But we've also got a Linux system administration course that we're running every Saturday. And it runs throughout the week. So you have to go in there and get the worksheets and you have to work on stuff. It's going to be a lot like a college class. In fact, I'm going to be looking through assignments and stuff like that. People can turn stuff into me and get some feedback. But yeah, there's 150 people. We had 90 people on Saturday down in Discord. And then also on Sundays, Salty Catfish comes in and talks coding. And that's what he does professionally, and that's what he tries to work on with you guys. So lots going on. We also have other people as part of the community that stream, like Fisherman. If you guys don't follow Fisherman, I think we rated him last night. Let me see if I can shout out Fisherman. Guy Bro. I think that'll work. Yeah. And if you don't follow him, you really should. He's got really good stuff. He's got the most AWS certs in our server because he works with AWS stuff a lot. And he just got the AWS AI practitioner. So if some of you are like thinking about taking that cert or going, I think the cert is half off still, or maybe like 40% off. So that's a pretty good deal. I have not had a lot of time to focus on AWS certs, but you guys should definitely be following him if you can, because he does. And in fact, he streams right around now because he's on the East Coast time and I'm on West Coast time. So, well, I'm on Pacific time right now, but so anyways, those are the people in the community. Salty sometimes streams as well. We've got a few other people that stream when we can get them out there. But we just got to like keep pressure on those guys to keep them streaming because they've got a lot of good, I mean, they've got years and years and tens of years of experience between them, maybe even adding up to like over 100 years of like time in the trenches doing this stuff. Yeah, Seabear. So what the Code Cove is for you guys is Salty runs that, and the way he runs that is he is a software engineer. That's what he does, and he's been a lead the whole time I've known him, so the last 5 years almost. And so he's been doing software engineering for like 10 years, and he's been a lead. And what he does in there is he gets you together, talks about, you know, different types of coding and stuff like that, and then he runs. I know they build like a bot, so they've got a little bot that works out in our Discord and does some stuff. And he shows you how to do pull requests, and he shows you how to be a junior software engineer on a software team. And that's kind of, to me, that's like the main reason I would go do that. Like, because, right, we can go write for loops and we can learn how to interact with tools and libraries and shit. That stuff, that's probably the easy part of it if you ask me. That's stuff I know anyways. But these guys are like working together on a team and building things. In fact, sometimes you'll see if you hang out down on the server, sometimes you'll see the bot every time somebody commits code up there. You'll actually go see their commits and stuff. It doesn't look like anybody's committed that yet this month, but when they're working on it pretty actively, yeah, that's what they do. So that's and there's no assignments or anything to that. That's just those guys hanging out. Me, with the Linux System Administration course, I have assignments and I have requirements. If you guys if you want to get the certificate at the end, you've got to go through the process, right? And it's just like anything, man. Like, you can't just go to a gym and like sit in the corner and go, ugh, I'm gonna be big and strong one day. No, you gotta start lifting weights, right? And it's the same thing here. Like, we got to start working on stuff to get good at this stuff. I've been working on multi-tier architecture using Samba for file server. Nice. Yeah, user Samba is perfectly fine. I've used Samba for all kinds of stuff in the enterprise. People might think, oh, like Samba's not enterprise ready. No, it's pretty enterprise ready. In fact, it was written. Samba comes from server message block, and server message block was written by Microsoft to interact with Unix type file systems in like 92 or something. So Samba server message block comes from Microsoft. So it's pretty enterprise ready in that kind of sense. All right. So Robodom's giving you guys the Discord. You guys are welcome to hang out down there. I'm not working super hard today because what did I do? I worked all day. I was working on those switches I was telling you guys. So I was like elbows deep in switch guts all day, like fixing this stuff and moving, because one of the STIGs, when you look at like the STIG scores for a system, is you cannot be on the default VLAN. No ports when somebody plugs in can be down on the default VLAN. So I'm wearing this like a green, like teal-ish shirt, Robodom. Yeah, so it's partial invisibility. Yeah, I did that on purpose to distract you guys. Also, this is probably the only time, actually I know this is the only time I've ever been on stream where I have a shirt open. Like, I've got an undershirt on and I just like, because what happened was the first week of my college classes, like that I teach, was 2 weeks ago, and I was in Austin. So some of you guys remember I was in Austin. So we had an on-site class, and I was like, oh shoot, I got to move it. So I moved it to tonight. So I went over to the college. None of my 3 college students that had to be on site, because we have online class, which has like 30 people in it, and then 3 people local, and they have to actually come in the class. So this was our makeup night tonight, and nobody showed up. So I stayed in there for about 40 minutes and then bounced. So I got like all dressed up today, and then no student even showed up. Now, on Thursday, we're having our actual week 3 class, and when we do that week 3 class, then they have to be there as well. And it's kind of weird. We do this thing, it's called an on-live modality, so it's online and it's live, so it's called on-live. And the modality is we teach, we record, students can talk, students on the class can talk, and the other students can hear them. And I really do like it. I mean, it's a good method. It's just there's certain, especially like veterans benefit type things, that cause requirements of like attendance in a classroom to have to be hit for certain students. If you're not completely online, then you have to be in a classroom attending, and that's kind of a weird thing. So, well, I got little fuzz balls on my my little guy here. I got like this little thing that goes over my microphone to keep it from like popping. Like if I pop real loud, it shouldn't pop too bad for you guys. So, all right, so we've done some of these before, but let's work through some of these. And I think when I did these ones the other day, I kept the notes, and I think I might have sent them to you guys if you wanted them. But let's just, we started at the bottom the other day, and we did the platform binaries and the system hardening and closing ports and systrace and static manual analysis. We did these manual analysis. Actually, we didn't do the manual analysis, so these are the ones that we need to do next. So let's do this. If anybody wants to hop in here with me, I will link these in the chat. So over here. No, it's everything's a start, user 8080. Everything you do, everything that gets you like more systems administrator experience, and you get to kind of hold a system and then start to run it into what becomes a production environment, gives you experience for running real systems, All right, so I linked that for anybody that wants to follow along with me. And I'm going to drop it over here and say Lab 1. And it's this manual static analysis. All right. And it says right here, perform a manual static analysis on files in root apps, app 1 considering security, and move the less secure of the files to root insecure. So, let's make this a little bigger so you guys can see it. And then what am I going to do here? I'm going to say cd to root apps. And in here, there are 3. It'd be useful if my fingers did the thing I said. There are 3, count them 3, sets of K8s environments. and we can look at them to see which one's more secure. Now, static analysis means we look at it when it's not in a running state. It's not a dynamic analysis. Dynamic analysis is like once it's started up and it's running, we see how it behaves. Static analysis is looking at it in the code and seeing if somebody injected something that we know is insecure for some reason, and maybe they did it so that something was easier, that kind of stuff, right? So let's go look at app 1, and we're going to do more on app 1-3. Look at this guy. And we're going to do more on app 1-5 and look at this one. All right, so we've got these two definitions here. I'm going to move this down just a little bit because maybe we can fit them all on one. There we go. All right, so here's app 1 up here. And then here's app 1 with the other setup down here. How's it going, Twisted Seed? We're not working too hard tonight. I was saying I showed up at my college class to do a makeup class with my students, and none of them showed up. So I sat there for 40 minutes, and then I bounced, man, because nobody was there. So now what we're doing is we're looking at a static manual analysis of a couple of, well, 3 different K8s deployments as pairs and saying which one of these is more secure. So let's look at this real quick. Up here, this one is, it's hitting API version 1, which is the case of most deployments of pods. Meta name is pod, so we're not doing anything crazy here. We're not doing anything crazy here. And then what we see is we see a spec, and it's containers, main, Alpine, bin sleep 9999. So all this Alpine does is come up and sleep, so it's just a running container. Okay. Down here, there's a security context of read-only root file system true. What that means is that this is an immutable pod. This pod, its root file system will not change. Now, if we have other file systems that are mounted, like a MySQL, a database or something like that, and this was a MySQL one maybe, that thing can be mounted separately, and then that would be read-write. But the base file system here is immutable up here. This is what this means to be read-only root file system true. Everything else is the same. Now, this one down here has a liveness probe. Now, a liveness probe just means that it's going to check, and it's going to check after the first 5 seconds of coming up, and then every 5 seconds for liveness. And if this pod is found to not respond, the liveness probe will kill it. And if the pod is part of a larger deployment that has replica sets that have a certain desired amount of pods to be up, this pod would then be restarted, and the liveness probe would come up after 5 seconds. And as long as this pod was doing what it should do, which is literally sitting there sleeping, then it would be fine. In fact, the test that does is it goes in and just makes sure that it can connect and read this file temp healthy. Okay. So of the two of these, is the one that has a read-only root file system more secure than one that has a liveness probe? That's something you got to think about. I'm going to say this one is the less secure. So I'm going to move. I'm in that directory, right? I'm going to move that to root insecure. And then when I hit check here, it'll tell me, oh, validation failed. Did I miss something? Maybe I didn't read the whole other thing. Oh! Somebody, come on, man. You guys got to stop me. You guys got to stop me from doing dumb stuff. That was the more secure one, wasn't it? All right. We got to move back. So watch, we're going to move from there. You guys got to stop me literally all the time to here, right? And then the one that I want to move over there is this one here. Gosh, man, you guys got to stop me. I had the right answer. I just did the actual task wrong. Control-Shift-V will paste it, and then now that one will pass. So that's my fault. But let's go back real quick and look. The solution tells you which one to move, but the tip here says enforcing a read-only root file system can make containers more secure. So you can come up here and you can say Kubernetes read-only file system, right? And you can read more about Kubernetes.io. And really what you want is in the Kubernetes.io system, really what you want is the docs, because you're allowed to use these docs if you go take one of these tests. So you really want to understand the security context of a container. So security context here, You can allow privilege escalation false, because that's going to be one of the things you want to do. Make sure that people can't become root from the user that they've started as, which in this case, 1000 is typically the Ubuntu user on a system. It's the first of the created users, right? And then down here, they've got some other settings and things that you can find. You can have run as a certain user, don't allow privilege escalation, sure. And then they give you more and more examples of things that can be more secure. You can have even these supplemental groups. There's all kinds of things here. These are newer. These are things that are newer. This is coming up in Kubernetes 1.3.1, which I don't even think 1.3.0 is the standard right now, right? Which version are we on here? Systemctl, status, kubelet. That might not tell us. And then we say apt or dpkg-l grep-i for kube. Right, this will tell me that we're on 1.3.0. Or that's what I thought, 1.30. Yeah, Doc noticed the haircut too over on YouTube. Yeah, the wife cut my hair right before I went to my college class. So I told her I didn't want to go, and she's like, yeah, but you're the teacher, so you have to be there. And I was like, anyways. None of my students showed up tonight. It was a makeup class because I was out in Austin 2 weeks ago, and none of them showed up for the makeup class. So hopefully they show up on Thursday, because Thursday's the actual class for week 3. So this was just an extra class to catch up. I was going to show them. It's like a CCNA course, and I was going to be showing them security stuff and wireless stuff, which are two things that we don't actually hit in the course. They're part of the book. They're part of the labs that they can do, but they're not part of the assigned, because I only got these students for 8 weeks. And when you have students for 8 weeks, the last week typically is like testing or something like that. So you really only have like 7 weeks with the students. Then the first week, you're getting them up to speed. So a lot of times you only got 6 weeks with the student, right? You see what I'm saying? It's like you can't get through everything. So you just tell them like all this stuff. Seabear, when will the Linux systems admin recording be up on YouTube? It's already up there. The week 1 recording is up there. It's in the live sessions, and somebody linked it. Somebody did link it down in the Discord. I want to say in general chat. So it's up there. Oh, hold on. We'll go look, because I think this is useful for people that need it. I think somebody put it. Excuse me. Nope, it wasn't there. I don't think they can do it in... Maybe they did in welcome. Hold on. We've had a lot of people joining. And then make sure if you do join our Discord, you check out what the bot says, because the bot's always saying stuff to people. Let's go up and look. Somebody might have dropped in the welcome channel. The welcome channel is a mess, so a lot of times we just say hi to people there and then try to get them out of that channel, right? Somebody linked it, though. Yeah, I think it was the 15th. Hold on. Yeah, I did. I recorded it. I'm going to record them Sunday mornings, Seabear. So on Sunday mornings, so we'll do the Saturday meeting, right? And everybody can come in and feel comfortable. But yeah, this was, that's the Twitch side. I don't know where the YouTube, maybe nobody linked the YouTube one. Sorry. But for people that are going to do the project with us, I will keep putting things here in the ProLUG projects. You guys can download them. Here's the worksheet for week 1 if you want to do it in just text mode, right? Do these things, send them over to me in, yeah, I got my email on there, so you guys can send stuff over to me. I've probably had like 7 or 8 of them turned in so far, so that's good. I mean, if 150 people say they're coming, I'd be, surprised if I get more than like maybe 70 of them back in the first week, and it'll trail off as we go, but maybe people try to finish it. We'll see. All right, so that's kind of what we're doing. Say this is not cool. Yeah. So we did that one. We did the first one. Now we're going to go perform a manual static analysis of the second part. So there is another app in here called App 2. So we're going to do more on App 2-B, and that's got some interesting things. And let's look at what this one has. It's a deployment, and it's got 3 replicas. So there's 3 of whatever these things are. There's no service in front of them, so they're just going to be base pods. That's fine. Down here is some information about that. That's fine. And then we get into the containers, and the containers have a security context of allow privilege escalation true. So that's scary. People can go up and execute to a higher privilege. So that's probably not great. But let's compare that to what we see on the other one. We see a readiness probe now. Now, readiness probes are different than liveness probes. Earlier, I told you a liveness probe can kill you. A readiness probe and a startup probe cannot kill your service. All they can do is say you're not ready, and when you're not ready, according to the Kubernetes cluster, you will not be an endpoint for services or load balancers or any of those type of things that you can build inside of there, right? We tend to build services. So there's different types of services: cluster IP, node port, and load balancer. And none of those will back end or use your pod as an endpoint if it's not ready. And this is how this thing determines readiness. So I'm going to tell you this one, probably not great. Probably not great. Hey Fisherman, I got three of the characters unlocked, I think, in the new Brotato. I went to the beta one, and man, that stupid guy that gets, like, you just get a stick and he just keeps building up to like 24 sticks. I just like walked over the whole game and just beat the whole game with him, and it was like, it wasn't even hard. Like, it was, I just like punched all the bosses with him and killed them like nothing. So it was weird. That character is definitely like way overpowered. Yeah, so Alpaca, the way readiness and startup and liveness probes work can be based on a bunch of things. In this case, it's actually execing down in the container and just seeing if a file called temp healthy is there. If this device, or if this pod, as it were, and then this container within this pod, ever failed to execute that command successfully, then it would just fail, right? And Robodom, I did a shout out to Fisherman a little while ago, so I was trying to summon him to get him streaming. So let's look at this one. So we gave this one a shot. That's not looking good. So let's go look at the other one, which, if we ls in here, is app2-f. This is the other one. Whoops, I gotta hit tab. And this one has not being run as the root user. It's running as some other user, and then it's just doing some container. It's using a very specific version of Nginx as opposed to just the latest. The reason it's more secure natively to run a specific version of the container, like Nginx 1.21.6, is that's a known quantity. And if in my production environment I'm constantly going to a new container, that's a very dangerous thing. Even if it's a container locally inside my systems, what if somebody manages to get a container through our pipeline, and you're constantly going to the latest version because you think, we control the containerized thing, but then somebody happens to push to prod on a Friday, nobody thinks about it, and it gets through all the checks because it's a working container, but it doesn't have some customization that some of that secret sauce that only certain engineers knew about when they built their tool, right, or their pipeline. This happens. You might think, we got the best controls in place. No, it still happens. Always happens. So then that gets pushed to prod, and then some containers get killed over the weekend, and they come up with this bullshit image, and they're not doing what they should. Now you got a transient issue, and then you're like, what the hell is our thing doing? But if you're on a specific version, a set version of your pod, even though that thing got through the pipeline and is the latest, you're pointed to the one that might be 3 versions back, but it's the correct one that you've tested on. Does that kind of make sense? We try to control things. We try to keep things. In fact, I got into it. Let me tell you about a contract I was on yesterday. I was on a government contract. I was on a phone call with them. And like I told you guys, most of you guys know, like, you may see me get a little ramped up here, but I don't get mad at work. I don't care, right? Like, I will speak my piece, especially if I'm asked for it, and then I will be quiet. If people, like, if management takes the load, if management wants to go a different route than what I say, the only expertise, or the only power I've ever wanted to exert in a company is what we call expert authority. Have any of you guys ever heard? There's different types of authority. There's like derived authority. There's like there's all kinds of authority in an organization. But I only want to ever exert expert authority. You only listen to me because you should listen to me, not because you have to. Does that kind of make sense? Well, anyways, I was in this meeting, and we were talking about, we had built this system. We've been building this system since, I came on the system in July. So July, August, September now, right? And it was being built for a few months before I got on it. And it has been up and down the board stateless machines. with a tool called Werewolf. In fact, it's the thing that got me doing Werewolf in my home lab. Was I was doing so much on this cluster that I was like, all right, well. And it came up that our nodes that sit on the edge are going to have certain types of tooling from a couple of different very popular vendors. Let's just call them, they rhyme with Nessus and McAfee, right? That's what they rhyme with. And the argument is these, so if you have a stateless node and then a stateless node gets stood up, right? Let me show you guys this real quick in my home lab. So if some of you guys have seen this, but I'm going to show this to you anyways. If you've got a stateless node like Rocky here, and I go to temp, and then I say touch, hello, hello stream, right? And then I ls in here, I see that hello stream. But hey, Paul, how's it going? Man, Paul, you've been out vacationing and up in the mountains and stuff, and I haven't seen you in a while, man. How's it going? We normally do an end of stream, Paul. We normally do an end of summer get together at the house, but we missed it this year. So I told the wife we're gonna do something like early December, I think, because like it's hard to get. Paul lives by me, if you guys don't know. And what I need to do is it's hard to get people over the holidays, especially friends and stuff. So I do like a beginning of December party instead of like a Christmas party. Because if any of you guys know, if you have family and stuff, it's hard to get a hold of people those like 2 weeks. It's hard to have like a party or whatever. So I move my party to the beginning of December, so you have no reason not to come, right? For everybody, not just Paul. Anyways, Paul, we'll have the drift trikes out. We'll have all that stuff. We'll do our normal party. We probably won't have a game truck. We get a game truck a lot of times for the kids. But we won't do a game truck probably. I'll probably build out some Raspberry Pis. And one of my favorite things to do is have these young kids play Punch-Out so they can see how hard Mike Tyson is. I just put the code in, send them right to Mike Tyson, and let them just kick their ass all night. Yeah, it's going to be the beginning of December, Paul. Somewhere in there. We'll get it going. But yeah, I like to I like to show these youngins when they say our video games aren't as hard as other ones. Doc, no, Arizona will be beautiful in December. In fact, Arizona today, can I tell you guys a fun thing about Phoenix? And some of you may have known this. I bet Paul knows this. Today in Phoenix, it only got to 92 degrees, right? It is the first day in 113 days that wasn't over 100 degrees. Been brutal. What that means, in the last 113 days, I don't think my AC is shut off once. It may shut off a little bit at night, but even like when it was storming out, it was still hot out. Oh, Paul, geez. Like, I always tell people there's like sometime right at the end of August, early September, like there'll be like a big storm that'll come in, and that storm will come in and kind of like break summer, and then we're kind of done with it, and then we basically get to chill until March or April again. So I think this year we had 100 in April, but I might be wrong about that. All right, so anyways, which one of these is more secure natively? I want to say this one allows privilege escalation, so this is the less secure one. So we're going to take this, and we're going to move that into root and secure, and then we're going to check to make sure that that was right. And the answer is that was right, because this city is a monument to man's arrogance. Is that what Peggy Hill said? There's a scene, if any of you ever watch Arrested Development. Arrested Development is absolutely fantastic. But he goes to live in Phoenix, and he walks outside. He walks right outside of the Phoenix airport, and he goes, oh, really? And he goes to reach for the handle of the taxi, and the guy's like, oh, hold on. And he touches the handle, and it burns his hand. And, like, I'm just telling you right now, man, Phoenix is no joke. Like, people think they know, like hot, and then they come out here, and they're like, I didn't know that I could get a brand. Like, you can get a brand on you from touching the metal of your seatbelt. When you go put your seatbelt on, if you like touch your arm or you touch your leg, you can brand yourself with a heat blister. It's terrible. And one of the worst things is if your steering wheel is sitting in the sun and you go to turn and then you let that steering wheel slide back through your hand, the heat will feel like it's cutting your hand. I've had it pretty bad before. It'll blister your hand up too. So. All right. But enough of that. We were talking earlier on a call, and they were saying how bad Florida is. And I'm like, look, I've been to Orlando in summer. I give it to Orlando. That heat and that humidity makes you want to cry. And you don't even know if you're crying because it's so humid that you're probably crying and you don't even know it. There's just sweat and stuff coming out of your face anyways. So, and I was in Georgia, but Georgia's where I trained for the Army, Fort Benning. It's not Benning anymore. It's Fort something else now. But I was there in winter though, and then Florida, or the Florida and Georgia cold with humidity is also brutal. I just don't like humidity in general. I think humidity makes everything worse. All right, but let's go back real quick. And let's look at the static apps too, and let's look at their tip. It says check the security context settings. Just because there are some doesn't mean they do something good or at all. That's true. Now, you might say, why would there ever be a security context to allow something to run as root? And look, the engineers build the thing to do stuff, and then security comes in to make sure and lock it down so that people don't do stuff that they shouldn't do, right? So there are maybe reasons to run as root in a dev environment. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe somebody could put that together and figure out why you couldn't use a service account. Maybe I can think of one. Maybe you have such a strict lockdown of your system for like service accounts being like reset every 30 days or something. Your service account gets reset, and in your dev environment you're just tired of your guys wasting time with that, so you just set it to like a root context so that it doesn't have to deal with that. I don't know, maybe, I'm stretching there a little bit, but the point is there are reasons to do things that don't jive with security, but you can justify because they're in a lower environment, they're air gapped, they're protected, we have other things in place to protect. That root context could be perfectly fine if you're in one of those gvisor sandboxes. And we've built gvisor sandboxes around here before where now, even if you have root context, you're just in this inert container. You're in this inert sandbox shell that connects to a kernel that doesn't really have any power to do anything in the cluster. So, I don't know. There's a lot of crap you can do. Anyway, so let's go look at this last one. The last app, clear. And we'll do more app 3-8, and this one is doing all kinds of stuff. This one's like really trying to trick us. Look at the top, it's got a service, so it's got a service as a front-end load balancer in front of these label selectors of App Nginx. So App Nginx down here, they make a stateful set. They don't even make it a deployment, they make it a stateful set, and they say we want 3 replicas, and this is what they're going to look like. And we're going to call a very specific version of Nginx Slim. We're going to volume mount this version of an HTML web page that we get from some part of the cluster. We're going to have a readiness probe and a startup probe, and those are going to validate that the system has started up correctly and is sharing 8443 index. And then the readiness probe is going to make sure that it's ready so that it can be shared behind the service. Like, these are all the things that happen, okay? And then down here, there's a liveness probe. If it can't get to that page, it'll reboot this pod. It'll kill the pod. And the stateful set will set up a new pod. That's kind of cool. We have access modes of read, write once of the storage class, and it's 1 gig, so we're going and grabbing that. I don't see anything in here. There's a termination grace period, so the first 10 seconds, it won't get hit by the liveness probe. That's a thing there. I don't see anything in here that's natively secure. Well, this is more secure because you're calling a specific version of the registry or the container image, right? But I don't see anything else. We could argue that this is very in the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of a system. This is highly available, right? Because we're very, very tuned into how responsive our system is and keeping up all 3 of our containers behind that thing. So we could make that argument. But other than that, this isn't really any more secure than anything else. The only real thing for security here is this right here, where we're calling the very specific version. Let's go compare that to the other one. Let's go look at 9. And this one is doing almost the same thing. So let's see. It's MySQL. This one doesn't have... Okay. What did they do? They took off the service. So there's no service on this one. It's just a stateful set coming up, so that's less available if we're talking about confidentiality, integrity, and availability. This is going to be MySQL, so this is doing a totally different thing than an Nginx one is. It is not going to be allowed to be privileged. It is going to go get its password, the MySQL root password is going to be passed in by reading from an environmental secret key that's kept in Kubernetes. It's doing some readiness and startup and liveness probes the same way, and nothing else is any more natively secure. Here it's just a bigger storage block than the other one. Still read write once. There's nothing here. The main thing is no variables are stored locally. They're going to be grabbed from the cluster as it comes up, and it's not allowed to be root. It's also calling the same version as the other one. I would call this one the more secure of the two. That's what I would say. Although I swear this is a newer one. I think you must have updated this one, because this one is less. There's not really security built into this one. So I'm going to move that one. I'm going to say move Control-Shift-V to insecure dot root insecure. Oh, what's going on with me today? And we hit check. It says validation successful, and I think that's right because of the two things I said. It's getting an environmental variable from somewhere else, and the security context is privileged false. So that's useful. Also, you should be able to just execute one of these if you wanted to. If you wanted to see the container come up and see that it was secure, you should be able to do that. I should be able to take this app right here, this YAML. There's nothing stopping me from saying kubectl create-f that file. And that should create that stateful set. If I say kubectl get pods, I should see the pod. There's one for this one. If I say kubectl get ss, I think it's ss is the stateful sets. Yeah, stateful sets. You should just be able to type that. And I'd see that there's a MySQL stateful set, and then I can do a kubectl describe stateful set. It would tell me about that stateful set coming up and what's going on. And is there actually a MySQL root password? There isn't one. Probably because we didn't set up the there's not a so that's missing, so that kind of sucks. But pods, and we could describe the one pod, and the pod would come up. Now the pod's not good because there's an unbound persistent claim, so we'd probably have to go make the persistent claim. We'd have to do a little bit to make this actually work as a lab. But from the stateful set and looking at static manual analysis, we were able to determine that these other ones were the ones that were no good. Hey, thanks for the follow, guys. I think we got a Snipe It and XWidget1. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you guys. And let me finish up my drink here. Oh, Doc, I'm missing some of your stuff. All right. Where are we at then? Okay, so I didn't even have any notes for that. I didn't even pull up any notes for this one. But the point is, if you were doing this one and you were looking at notes, you would say why you picked each of the different ones and probably reference this. And I would say reference this and figure out why a deployment, why a Kubernetes I don't want to call that a, what do they call it? Do they call it a resource? Yeah, figure out why a Kubernetes resource is less secure than another, right? And then we went through each of the different components of why those things are or aren't more secure, right? And Paul, yeah, thanks for the Prime. That's always good. I think you probably only use your Prime here, huh, Paul? I don't think you do much else. I did just hit 3 years the other day, though. Earlier this month, I hit 3 years, and then I had like a little I think I hopped on for my what is it, affiliate versary or whatever they call it, but I wasn't really on much for that. So, um, oh, it's 8 o'clock already here. All right, what else are we doing? Yeah, I was affiliate right away because there was a guy named. And you guys know who Nahumsec is? Nahumsec rated me. So my first day ever on streaming, I did. I hopped on and I was using a window. So I was using a window like this, right? This right here, right? And what ended up happening was I was showing a screen. Now I just show this whole freaking view. I don't even care. You guys see my whole screen. I don't like have individual windows. But what happened was I was showing stuff and it was like this the whole time. So I was like, and like I could see what I was doing and I was talking to it, but nobody else could see my prompt. You see that? So it was just the way that the scene was set up, and I wasn't seeing it right. So I got super mad. I was like, I just did like an hour and a half of stream and nobody could see what the hell I was talking about. So what I did was I told the wife, I was like, I'm gonna go back on, I'm gonna stream again, I'm gonna fix this thing. And I'm just fixing it to like nobody. I'm just like doing my stream again. and Nahumsec rated me with like 130 people or something. So then my number for my very first day was like 137 people, and then it dropped down, and then it like stayed. I want to say it stayed like for that first hour, like probably over 50, right, of people just kind of watching me do Linux and fumble around. I mean, because I know I've always known the Linux side of it well, but it was like, you know, being in front of that many people, which I had only talked in front of that many people a few times, right? I mean, I've been a college professor forever, but that tends to be less than 60 people. Well, anyway, so, you know, he did that, and then, like, over that first, like, I think you need, like, 7 days of streaming, 5 days in the 7, and you have to average over, like, 3 people or something. Well, I averaged well over 3 because of that first hour. That was kind of funny. And I got, like, I don't know, like 30 or 40 follows out of it, so that was kind of cool. Yeah, the wife is not here tonight. She's at a book club with some of my other friends' wives. They go and talk about, what's the book she's reading right now? Something, I think it's something Civil War-ish they were doing. I forget exactly what. But I was telling her I was telling her the other day she should read Shogun. I read Shogun in high school, and I liked it. And then now they've got it as like a whole big thing. Let's be honest, it's Harry Potter, yeah. Yeah. She what is the wife? The wife. It's funny though. She'll not read them, and then she'll just listen to them like the couple of days before she has to go talk to the group. And I'm like, it kind of feels like cheating. I kind of feel like you should be reading this book. And she's like, no, don't give me a hard time, you know. And I'm like, all right, I won't give you too much of a hard time. Oh, the wife wants to call me right now. Here, I'm gonna call her right now with you guys on stream. Hold on. Let me call the wife right now. Hold on. I'll leave you guys on so you guys can hear. I'm streaming, but they can't hear you. They can hear me though. What's up? I already ate, but what are you thinking? There's a deal to be made here, guys. Hold on. Okay. I'll text you. All right, bye. She is gonna run through a food place. Let's see. Okay. So, what was I saying? Oh, I forget what I was saying. Oh, yeah, my brain's not working the way it used to. Plus, I've been like, it's funny. I've been like way more tired lately, guys. Hey, how's it going, Honorable, over on the YouTube side? It's kind of funny. Like, I think I told you guys the last year I was working on this project with a big college in the Northwest. And what happened at the university was they had this big cluster, big high performance compute cluster, 1,200 and something nodes, and they had 6 people on the team, but then 4 of them retired or otherwise left and took like 50 plus years of experience on this cluster with them, like over 10 years each, right, of these 4 people that left. So there were 2 people on the team, and my company does a lot of contract work with them. So they were like, hey, can we get a 1-year contract and you guys bring a guy in and have this guy like rebuild our team? So that's what I did. And I think I've told you guys about that. And but the reason I say like this has been like a lot more difficult the last few months is that contract was up. We brought on 6 people. I've shown you guys the process I use for interviews and that kind of stuff. And I'll pull it up now if you guys want to see it. But the point is I helped them build that team. They got up to 8 people. They didn't need me anymore. The 1-year contract was up. So then I came back and I started working kind of for my company proper again. And what my company does is build out high performance compute clusters. We do it on our own contracts, and we also do it as like a subcontractor to Dell and General Dynamics IT and a bunch of other companies that kind of need like typically our Linux expertise and our InfiniBand expertise. And you might say, really, like don't those guys have other Linux guys? Yeah, they do, but they don't have like a lot of times the Linux guys that can deploy stuff like and the experience that I have around like big cluster systems, right? Well, anyway, so where I'm going with that, not to brag, but the point is, the last like 3 months I've been getting run ragged, whereas like the last year before that I was just chilling down on this project, and like I was running stuff and I was building stuff, but it was a lot more chill work. So I've been like working a lot, and like some of you guys know, I went 2 weeks ago out to Austin for a week. I don't travel to data centers, but well, I do now sometimes. Later on this year. Well, we're getting near the end of the year, but somewhere I think in November, I'm going to be out in Hawaii for a week giving training. So that'll be fun. I've never even been to Hawaii before. So yeah, I'll be out there training one of our teams on a cluster that we built out, which is a pretty beefy system. I'm building all that training. I can't show you guys that training, unfortunately, but you guys get to see my Linux systems administration training, so that's kind of good. That's free training that anybody can do. So, all right. Yeah, Robedom, I think that one's going to be good. Also, my boss, Don, told me, he's like, bring your wife out. And I was like, all right, I'll bring her out. So she's just going to hang out, and then I'll go do the training. Like, I'll give the training during the day, and then later on in the evening, we'll just hang out. I don't know how close. We'll probably be near the beach somewhere, I imagine. I don't know exactly where we'll be, but I think everywhere in Hawaii is somewhere near a beach, right? I think. I don't know the whole layout over there. I think we're going to be in Maui, too. So, not 100% sure. But look, guys, we did this. We understand how to analyze these pods. We could go through and talk about each of them again and put it in our notes, but I think that's a good enough one on the manual static analysis of a Kubernetes. Kubernetes YAML files. So we'll do manual static analysis of Docker, right? We'll go do that a little bit. I've never worked with Puget Systems, Mr. Couture, so. I don't know if they're a government. I've worked with I've worked a lot with Lockheed. I used to work for Lockheed for many years. I've worked a lot with GDIT, and I've worked a lot with Dell, and then Cray, which Cray got bought by HPE, Hewlett Packard Enterprise, and I've worked a lot with them as well. And then like I showed you guys, like there's stuff that's out there. If we go to like the NOAA. I showed you guys this yesterday, but did you guys know that there are free civilian, like anybody can sign up and go to all of these workshops? And there's one, this one was already passed, so that one was 5 days ago. I don't know why that one's top. I swear this thing just randomly puts these up there. There's one coming up in October on underwater robotic systems with Dr. Karina Barbalata. I don't know her. But the point is, there's all these engineers and scientists and stuff that are on there, and they're doing. Look, you want to get better on science on a sphere using data, visual art to engage and inspire. They're going to show you how they do information and sending out just data and collaborative. There's a collaborative network. I think I told you guys this before. The U.S. government figured out a long time ago that people that do stuff as amateurs do a way better job analyzing data than people who do it professionally. I don't know if you guys know that or not, but they found out like if we just leave these things out there like open APIs, people will figure stuff out and look at patterns that like the people that we pay don't figure out. And that's a very true thing. What's this one? This one tells you about some funding, notice of opportunities. You want to go be a contractor? You want to go figure out what that takes? Here you go. That's all the way out. That's 2 days from now. That's 2 days from now. Talking about how to get competition, objectives, and priorities, and how to get into this game if you want to do it, right? You want to run your own business and do work with Noah? Here you go. Anyways, all right. That I always plug them because I think that that's a really valuable thing, and that's a really good way to show if you want to go work on big data sets and prove to a company that you can work to like whatever scale their data, like you want to go do financial analysis and you can't find anywhere to get a bunch of big financial numbers. I guarantee you those NOAA numbers are some of the biggest data sets you can get a hold of for free. And they'll show you how to do a bunch of the processing on it. So then you can, and well, I don't know how much they allow civilians to use their processes now, but it used to be that you could get, I think there's a smaller version of the cluster that I used to run, and I think you can actually use some of their cycles for some of their jobs. So you have to look into that. Sorry guys, I'm yawning. Tired. Worked all day. I was taking a bunch of switches and jumping VLANs between the nodes that I was on and the nodes that I needed to go to, and needed to make sure that I had all the VLANs switch. I lost 3 of my 14 switches today because of misconfigurations in them to start that I won't do in the future. It wasn't my fault. I didn't build the switches originally, but I didn't check them before I started my change, so that was my fault. We had to send one of the guys out in Hawaii to go hands-on, and he had to fix a couple of them. I gave him all the commands, like I wrote all the commands out for him, but he had to go kind of blind and work on them to get the devices back up. So that was kind of a fun thing. Also, if you ever work in Hawaii, they are 3 hours right now off of Pacific Standard Time, so they're 6 hours off of East Coast. So it's kind of funny, like guys on my East Coast team will be like, oh yeah, let's set a meeting for 3, and it'll be 3 their time, it'll be noon my time, and it'll be 9 a.m. for the Hawaii team, which is like when they're basically rolling in, because they don't get in early over there in Hawaii, from what I've seen. So it's kind of funny. I've done a few projects over the years with people in Hawaii, and you know, I hate to stereotype, but it's true. They sound on the phone like they are in their shorts and like sandals. That you can hear that over the phone with those guys, and all their emails start with like mahalo or something like that, which is kind of like one of their things. I think it's mahalo, some word like that. I don't know. All right, so we could keep doing these, but I'm kind of being lazy right now. So what do we want to do? We could keep working in the home lab. I have more things to do with Rocky in this environment. I have more drawings to do for our Linux Systems Administration course. I have more stuff to Mahalo. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah. I have more stuff to clean up and think about. People have been sending in their worksheets, so that's good. What else? Did Fisherman ever come on? Somebody let me know if Fisherman's on. If Fisherman's on, we'll go raid him. Keys, is he on? Let me go check. Let's pretend I was going to raid somebody right now. Did he ever hop on? I need somebody that I follow. Not streaming tonight? Alright. I was gonna try to mess with you a little bit. You're just playing Brotato? Alright, fair enough. Alright. Well then, let's talk through this for a second. Let's talk through this, because this is, and for some of you, you're gonna be like, he's showing us the week 2 stuff. Yeah, but I don't have the worksheet on here yet. I don't have the like what the discussions are yet. So that's gonna kind of change. Oh, I gotta change the date too. Hold on. Don't worry about the date. The date will change. Yeah, this will be spoilers. Yeah. The announcements. Ask me anything you need to in Discord. Also, point of order, and I'm gonna say this in the group. I really want people to try to ask me questions out in front of people if possible. I know people don't want to ask questions like people. Look, I get it. I've been teaching a long time. I've had over 5,000 students. I kind of know what it's like for my students to not want to ask questions in front of other people. Even people that have been around a long time. They don't want other people to know they don't know something. But I kind of would like that to happen more, because then the question gets answered for everybody, right? But anyways, class 2, if we had anything that was announcements or rescheduled, they go here. All right, so last week, we'll go over the stuff from the last week, talk about it, maybe show some stuff, get into the lab environment, understand the basic Linux. Oh, funny thing is, and some of you guys know this from the other day, from Sunday, I messed up. Normally when I do this class, the first week, I don't give a lab. That lab is typically a week 2 lab. So now I got to write a lab 2 because I don't have a lab for week 2. So I got to write a different lab. So I'm going to be working on that here this week as well. And then this week, so then it'll flip over to this week, right? It says last week, this week. And then we'll do the same thing, and we'll talk about what's going on. And I'm going to do the worksheet, which is, take notes, review material for this week, whatever we're talking about. All that kind of stuff. Can we ask how long? Man, Quartz. It was like 2020 through like. I probably finished it in middle of 2022. Yeah, so it took over. So that was with me like working and watching it and working and watching it and like just kind of always having it on. I mean, you have to get. I mean, you can go divide that up. How many days would that take you at 8 episodes plus a day? I didn't get to watch them on the weekends a lot of times. That'd be doing other stuff. But yeah, and that was Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, in case anybody's wondering. I never did Boruto. I looked at it, and when I got done, there was like, I think there was like 180 episodes, and I was like, I'm not, can't do it anymore, guys. I think there's hundreds now, but I couldn't do it. All right, anyways, this week, and then topics, we'll talk about note-taking, and we'll talk about system permissions. There'll be stuff that we look at and kind of get our hands on and stuff. Then we'll go through administration tasks and the different types of things that happen with a system, and like what does this look like, and how do we do this, and where are these where are these things change, and how do we control these, and we'll do all that stuff. And then we'll do just networking, and I might do with the networking part, I may do a little bit of a primer in networking too. So I may just pop up, as we do these things, we might even generate like our own little TCP dump. Oh, I didn't even mention TCP dump, but probably do a little TCP dump and pull it down to our systems, and then be able to analyze it inside of like a Wireshark or something like that, because that's valuable, right? It's good to know how to do that kind of stuff. And then we'll do the use method, and we'll go look at like errors and system stuff and all that kind of stuff, right? And then we'll go down here. So I'll be able to take that along with the materials and stuff that I have, and I should be able to turn that into like an hour and a half talk, and then we'll do so. Also, one of the things we're going to start practicing, because I really do think there's some value in this for you guys, is I'm going to get you guys doing some drawings of the things that we do. So if we do like maybe I don't know, building an inventory system or something, I might have you go and look at how maybe draw out how you see an inventory system working in your environment. How you might draw out to show somebody your inventory system. We'll talk about all that stuff. So anyway, so that'll be the chat this weekend. That'll be this weekend. We'll go into that. So what else do we got? We've got people can still do discussions. There are discussion posts running, and I will tell you guys, I have purposely not gotten involved with the discussions. Here's the discussions. What are you doing? Post a job that you're interested in. What do you know how to do? What don't you know how to do? What can you do to close the gap, right? These are things to make you think about stuff. But then I have purposely not gotten involved. I've not been liking things. I've not been commenting or responding to people, because I want people to answer and talk to each other. And I've already seen some really good talk in there, and people are like, oh, I didn't even know I could go do that as a career. And then they're talking to people, and hopefully people go and take that stuff offline and talk about it and find other people that are like, because we're all interested in Linux, right? I mean, you wouldn't listen to me for more than about 10 minutes if you weren't interested. Well, actually, according to YouTube, most people don't listen to me for more than about 3 minutes anyways, so that's fine. But if you were to, then you would find that there are other people who are interested in similar stuff to you. We're all doing Linux, but some of you want to do security, and you want to take this and go do your Kali stuff. And some of you want to do site reliability engineering, which at its heart is science about how your system responds to change, which is another way of looking at like chaos engineering. And then everybody thinks chaos engineering sounds cool. So like I've had that chaos engineering thing on my resume, and I have been asked about it every time I've talked to anybody about it. They're like, what's this thing? Oh, there we go. Ops to dev, go to ProLUG projects. Everything for unit 1's right here. Here's the 2 discussions right here, and then they are topics that go down. Yeah, it's right here. This is all the stuff for unit 1 materials right there. It's right there. I don't think anybody can message in this channel. I think it's just me and the mods. But I'm doing that on purpose. I don't want people messaging in the channel. You guys can message down in the threads. Does that make sense? You can go into the threads and you can message all you want. You can talk in there like all day. And I've verified everybody can talk in the threads. So, yeah, you can go in there and talk for sure all you want. All right. Yeah. You don't see the threads. You should see them just like this. Right here. Yeah, you should see them like this, and if you don't... Oh, you know what? I don't think they show up like this until you participate in them. So you might have to go in here and then go find them. And then go in and either like something or participate in there, and then I think they show up for you. I started them, so that's probably why it's there for me. So I didn't realize these don't show up for people unless they... That'll be useful. I'll make sure everybody knows that from the beginning. Ah, okay. Yeah, so ops to dev. Make sure you go in and then click on them. I have purposely tried to keep this pretty clean. In fact, I probably should have put that somewhere else, but that's fine. I want this to stay relatively clean as a channel. Yeah, so I think other people can't chat in here. So, all right. So, yeah, guys, I think I'm just beat today. Like I try to get on. Like when I get on and talk, I try to talk for at least an hour. Yeah, opposite of. See if you can get in there. Yeah, because I don't want you to be missing that if that's something that's interesting to you. I want you guys to be able to get in there and do what you need to do, right? So let's find. What else do I need to do? In the home lab, we've been able to reboot all the systems. We know everything works. I've thought about. Excuse me. I have thought about repurposing the red nodes here. What are they? They're 4 gigs. Yeah, so each of these, that's 4, that's 12. So I'm using 24 gigs on those guys. How big are our Rocky boxes? Are they all 4? Yeah, so I could get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 6 more boxes of Rocky if I at least turn these ones off for now. So I might do that. And let's see our memory. Yeah. What's this one? Werewolf. Yeah, we'll leave Werewolf up there. And we'll leave the control domain. What the hell is that? I've never seen a control domain on there before. That's fine. But we could clean this up, and we could probably squeeze out up to about 25 Rocky nodes if we needed to right now. We'll leave them as they are for right now. But I might work on getting us a little more hardware. Probably around the end of the Linux System Administration course. I probably won't be able to get us any hardware just yet. How many CPUs and cores is appropriate for a minimal VM? So Quartz 1, if you're just running just a VM just to like play with Bash, you could probably get away with like 1 core and 1 or 2 gigs of RAM. That's like the very minimum type server that you could build from like in AWS. It's like 1 core and then like a gig of RAM or something like that'll probably do it. But if you're saying like, Scott, I want to do a little bit of stuff on there, I would tell you the bare minimum I would build a machine would be 2 cores and 4 gigs of RAM. And you say, why is that the minimum? Well, because that is typically the minimum that you can stand up like Kubernetes or something. You can run Docker on less than that. But if you want to do Kubernetes and do some stuff like that, yeah, you should be at least that. And 4 cores, 8 gig, that's probably good too. But like our lab boxes are all 4 gigs and they're fine. People are using them fine for the basic stuff. So, and we're gonna be using them for more stuff here soon. So that's all. There's all more stuff coming. Yeah, so I got to get the worksheet built. I've got to get the lab built for this week. I've got the presentation pretty much built, so I can talk to those slides for the whole time. I've got to get my ideas. I have a couple of ideas for like the discussions I'm going to do for this week. So I'll have the discussions up, and I'll post the discussions probably on. I'll probably do them on Saturday morning, a few hours before the group starts, right? So that'll be the thing. Raspberry Pi would work for the course, sure. Zochi, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you want to use a Pi, yeah. I think you guys probably know I have a few Pis sitting on my network in my home lab. I haven't pulled one up on stream, I don't think, in the last 2 years. But I've got a Pi that sits on the floor right here behind me that's got Kali on it. And it can scan everything around me for Wi-Fi networks and all that kind of stuff. And that's all it does. I've written this in YouTube chat, but is it alright if we use Hack the Box, Own the Box, and personally have for the assignment? Yeah, you do whatever you want. Yeah. The labs are for you guys. Absolutely. So if you use a device in a lab and it does the things you need for the lab to work, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mr. Couture, I'm okay with people using AWS too. I think AWS would be a great way to do this. In fact, some of you guys that remember when I used to do Sunday labs, I would hit a button here in my home lab and I would deploy a whole bunch of machines out in AWS for you guys. Then you guys would go down the sandbox and you would pick your machines and just basically say, hey, I'm using this one, hey, I'm using that one. And you guys could just jump into them. So, yeah, I used to, that's how I used to do it. The first year that I was really digging into AWS, I did it that way because I had all the free hours. And I would just spin up like 15 machines, but they would only be up for a few hours. And then I would turn them off, after the weekend. And then I would turn them on the next weekend. So I never went over my 750 hours. But, so. Yeah. So, what's funny is the last time I bought Raspberry Pis, I bought the Pi 4s, and I bought the biggest version of them. I think the ones that have like 8 gigs of RAM. And I never even used them. I have them just sitting over here on I have a dresser over here. Or not dresser, it's actually a really nice desk that somebody gave me, like family gave me this really nice desk. And I don't use it because I have my little cheap desk. But my cheap desk from DeVry is like really a good office desk. So I use that one. But anyways, the point is I have like 3 or 4 Raspberry Pis over there that I ordered for, when they first came out a few years back, probably like 4 years back now. And I've literally never even used them. Never even turned them on. They're just sitting over there. I should probably do like giveaways with them or something. Only problem is it'd be more to ship them probably than just. Actually, maybe it wouldn't be too much. I think USPS isn't too expensive nowadays. But if it fits, it ships type thing. I could just throw them all in there. But yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be a fun little giveaway. I could set them up with retro Pis for you guys. Anybody here ever built a little retro Pi? Then you could play like all your little Nintendo ROMs on there. Those are pretty fun. Should apply for the AWS Academy program. I think they give free credits for teaching purposes. That'd be cool. What does that look like? Let's see what that looks like. See, I bet the only problem with this, if I could think through it, I bet you I have to be like an actual charity or something. That's the only problem. And I refuse to go be an actual charity. I don't want anybody that comes and hangs out with our group to ever think what I'm giving away is charity. Let me be very clear. I am only offering you guys hard work. It might look like I've made this stuff easier for you, but a lot of this stuff is hard to learn. And I'm not saying it's hard like you couldn't do it. What I'm saying is like it takes time and skill and like developing your muscle memory around these commands to be able to do some of this stuff. And I realize that. But like hopefully nobody ever thinks the stuff that I give here is free. It's like, no, you have to work your ass off to get it. Like it's almost like I'm throwing it over your head and you're having to like reach up and grab it, Like it's all right, but anyways, let's see. What do they do here? Educators? Yeah. Let's see. What's going on here? I've thought about just deploying my own stuff out here anyways. Cause it's not too difficult. Well, I'm a professor. I'm a college professor, but I can't really leverage that because that's a private college, right? I wouldn't want to do that. No advanced stuff. It's probably all foundational. Interesting. Well, I could leave. Oh, sorry guys, I'm yawning over here. I could leave that open. I'll check it out. Another one. You know, another one. There's another one I got to put together here. I gotta stop being lazy about this. KubeVirt. KubeVirt, if you guys don't know, this is how Killer Coda runs everything. And I need to build out my own little KubeVirt in my home lab and see how it works, because it would be really nice, instead of just having 19 boxes up, giving you guys the ability to connect and then do whatever you need to with the system, and then when you disconnect, it's just that environment goes away, you know. I haven't played with Talos Linux yet, no. What KubeVirt does is it allows you to it allows you to spin up virtual machines within Kubernetes. So you can do virtual machine based workloads that cannot easily be containerized, but do it inside of Kubernetes. So what that means is somebody maybe comes into a web page and they click that they want to go into one of these labs, and it stands up an environment for them and builds out that environment, and then it gives them like a shell to connect into it. So that's how Killer Coda uses it. So look right here, Killer Coda is on, it's part of KubeVirt. So this is how it works. And then they show you how to go build out KubeVirt side of it. Exunium, we're talking. We're just hanging out. Diamond, you can put a K8s cluster inside of a VM, but not inside of a container. But the VM itself can come from a container, like how Werewolf works. Yeah, you can do that. I might leave this open too. All right, plenty of stuff for me to mess with there this week. But yeah, you guys that want to come hang out in the Discord, come do it. People that want to contribute to our, some of you guys like to work on the labs, and some of you guys do pull requests against the labs just to give yourself some extra pull requests. You know, you can do that against the labs over on GitHub. So if you're doing the labs and you're finding errors, you can just go and do a pull request and fix the error right there. You can just clone it down, fix it, send it back up. So what I missed? Fisherman said something, I missed it. What was it? Have I thought of a backup plan in case Killer Code ever died? Yeah, Fisherman, I could go back to, I would just have to stand up my my Vault is up in my environment, but I just have to set my AWS keys in Vault, and I could go back to doing that on Saturdays as well. So but what would happen is, since I don't have a free, hold on, where's my little calculator at? Since I don't have the free version anymore, what is like $14 divided by like 750? So it's like almost 2 cents an hour. So if I was running, so let's say that, let's say 0.018, right? So almost 2 cents an hour times, let's say I had 30 people show up and hit the button to generate the little virtual machine, and then they get 2 hours or whatever. That'd be 30 people times 2. Is that right? It's 2 hours. So yeah, for me to run it for a weekend, or maybe even like 6 hours or something, so times 3, it would cost me for that day like $3.24, which would be, I don't know if any of you guys deal with or know how like Twitch works. You don't really make much on Twitch, but the ad part of it does all right, and that would basically pay for itself for like my streaming hours. I think that would pay for the like 1 hour would cover that. So as far as like, because I don't have a whole bunch of people watching me or anything, but what would happen then is like I could run that, Fisherman. Yeah. So I could do that. Yeah, I have thought about that, Fisherman. Like my ability to just, yeah, I could do that. You know, somebody pushes a button, they turn a little crank on a web page, and just get a server of some type for like 2 hours or something, and that costs me, 3 pennies or something like that about, as far as AWS goes, depending on if it's a small enough system, right? But if we're doing like a lab together, I could just stand up, like I could do that now. Like on this next Saturday, if I just wanted to put everybody in the cloud, all I would have to do is go put my keys in Vault, and then I could run that way I used to do it, and I could just deploy everybody a virtual machine right there. They'd all be in the same environment. They'd all have, I could set a password, and everybody would have the same password, and they could just get in the virtual machines. And then as soon as I was done, I could just tear it all down. Now that would require, and that's all tuned, that's all keyed. Some of you guys have been around. That's keyed to Discord, so that would be popping down in the Discord sandbox, and then people could just grab whatever system they wanted, out of there. Yeah, I do kind of wish Killer Coda was a little more open so that we could just self-host them. But as with a lot of stuff, it would only take me like 4 to 6 hours of like sitting down and actually like building something, where like there's one of these things some of you guys that are engineers know. The way a lot of us get good at engineering is like we get forced into a corner and we have to build it finally. We're like, I can't dodge this work anymore. I just have to effing go through it and build it. And then we're like, I understand how that works. I don't know why I dodged that for 2 weeks. And then seriously, and then once I do that, I'm like, I know how to do that. And then anybody else that ever asked me how to do it, I'd know how to do it. But a lot it's the same thing with our web page. I just haven't built our web page yet. Actually, I was going to make Fisherman do that, but I need to give him access. So, Fisherman, I got your email somewhere. I'll send you that. I meant to do it last night, but that's another one of those things. I've just been super busy. Yeah. You got to patch it. Actually, I'm going to make you guys patch the servers. One of these weeks, probably coming up here soon. You guys are going to jump down in and patch those Rocky systems just to see them patch, just see what happens, or patch whatever environment you're in, just to see what the behavior is, and then we're going to think about how to automate that for many systems, and we're going to make that work. So that'll be part of the class too. So because that's a big part of it, like maintaining servers, maintaining an aging fleet of servers versus just standing up new servers from a baseline and pushing the baseline forward and testing the baseline through your different environments. Those are two different methodologies that exist and are both equally still valid. Yeah, don't CrowdStrike. Oh, I didn't even finish telling you guys that earlier, Mr. Couture. I was on a call with the government yesterday on a project. Was it yesterday? Was it this morning? God, guys, I don't even know what day it is anymore. What is today? Tuesday? It was yesterday. It was yesterday. And I told, look, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but you want to go off of stateless nodes for the purpose of the agents of the two different types of agents that I mentioned need to be able to update on the fly on a machine that's running, and our stateless nodes would not have those updates when they come back up, and that's a problem. And I said, guys, I hate to be this guy, and I hate to have to say this, but the bigger problem is having two different agents that on their own timetable and on their own time frame can reach into our environment and update our systems whenever they want. And they were like, well, and I was like, didn't you guys just hear about Falcons, like CrowdStrike? The Falcon sensor is the CrowdStrike. Didn't you guys just hear about that like 2 weeks ago? That's what happened. They had unfettered access to update in people's environments, and they treated people's prod environments as though they were their dev test environment. And that is bullshit. And I'm honestly, I'd love to see them get sued till they don't exist. Because that right there is like the worst type of risk juggling I've ever seen. And you guys think like, oh, Scott's an asshole. He talks about like the way he controls systems with like an iron fist. I don't let anything control the systems that I control. I don't let automated processes do it unless I write them or unless I'm part of the review. And the reason is because it's not because I want to be in charge of things. I hate being in charge of things. I hate responsibility. But what I will not do is have my name on a set of servers that get updated by some asshole that's leaving on Friday from CrowdStrike, and he puts a null pointer or whatever in a C++ program. And I'm like sitting there going, like, my friends that code, they were like, do you know that you can't even do that? You have to like bypass every single part of your IDE or whatever your environment you're in. And I'm like, yeah, he probably wrote it in VI or something. Like it didn't have any controls, or because like literally every checker and every compiler on planet Earth is going to catch that. You have to turn those all off, those warnings, to get that through, and they did. But still, the point is, you let somebody treat your environment like it's their dev, and that's going to happen. So yeah. So anyways, yeah, fisherman. I'm hoping that Killer Coda never does go away, but I have thought about that. Like if Killer Coda drops, what do we do? And I think it will probably have some AWS control tower involvement, and then it's that catalog. I forget what that catalog's called, but we could give people Cognito permissions to drop into a page, and they could sit there and deploy the different labs. I think we could do that pretty easily. It's just we haven't been pressed to do it yet, or we could put that together. I don't think it would take a few of us brainstorming more than a few hours to build that. So yeah, service catalog, give people Cognito. I don't want to charge people like $1 a month or something, but maybe something where like, because obviously people can click the button, you know, and maybe we limit them to a couple times a day or something. So Quartz One, I actually started watching the Code Cloud yesterday, their PCA course, and then I realized like that PCA course was more basic than mine, and I'm like, yeah, but I like to sit around and listen to it, so I'm gonna finish it. But yeah, guys, if you don't know, Code Cloud has a free for the next like 5 days. Still, they have a free. You can basically go do anything you want in Code Cloud. You guys should do it. It's KODEKLOUD, just like Quartz One wrote. But yeah, Quartz One. I used Code Cloud when I passed my CKA and my CKAD, because Mumshad, he used to give people the Mumshad, when you used to buy his Udemy course for like $20, you would get free access to his Code Cloud. I don't know if that's still true, but that's the way he used to do it. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna drop off of here. Let's go find somebody to raid. Somebody's doing something. Let's go find them. YouTube side of things, I appreciate you guys coming by. We will be very serious this weekend, but let's go find who's in our environment. It's weird that there's no filter for like people that I follow right now. Sort by, nope. Let's go similar size. I don't. This is weird. They've changed around our raid, so I don't see like people that I know anymore. That's kind of weird. Like typically it's people you follow, you know. Is Rob on? No, Rob's not on. Let's go see if who's on? Let's see. Let's see who else might be on. All right. I don't know who else might be on, but I hear the wife. The wife's here. I've got my camera off. She was stopping by to give me a shake. So let's go. I don't see anybody on that I know. I just like every time they make some kind of change here, and then I can't easily find things. It's like, why are you guys changing things? All right, well, we won't do a raid then today. Ah, shit. Maybe we will. Maybe I don't know anybody that's on. All right, well, we won't worry.